Hello everybody, my name is Jordan Williams and today I am going to review Life is Strange as a whole. Now I'm going to try my best to be absolutely quiet as I can because I got family in the house and it would be awkward if they walked in on me doing a review on a video game and I have to start all over again. But basically I'm going to try my best to give you my full review on Life is Strange. At the moment, I am playing the last ever episode with Max and Chloe called Farewell. But before I continue on, I just want to do a quick review of Life is Strange as a whole. What I thought of it, what I think about it now, and my overall opinion. Like, I'll probably give it a rate at the end of this review. Now, Life is Strange is a story-based game where we're gonna go right at the very start. We're gonna go with the first Life is Strange game. Now I heard about it back in when it was first being released, but I didn't pay much attention to it until mid last year, like September 2017, where I played Life is Strange, and luckily I did because Before the Storm was not long coming out afterwards, so I thought, ooh, this would be a brilliant time to catch up with it. I played the first episode, which I found for free on the PS4. Those of you who haven't played it, I would highly recommend trying it out, see if it's your fancy. Now, if you're into highly action-packed, open-world, violence, blood, even though this game does have a fair bit of violence, but not your kind of violence, like X to attack, square to block, stuff like that. It's nothing like that. If you're into those games, I will not recommend this. However, if you're into story-based games with lots of emotion, lots of depth, great character development, characters that you can feel connected to, and you can get emotionally invested in, I would highly recommend playing this game. But let's take us back to the first Life is Strange game. You play as a returning to her hometown, Max. Max is a nerd, per se. She loves art. She loves taking pictures with her camera. She can play guitar way better than me. She just loves taking pictures. It's her passion. So, at Blackwell Academy, she's taken an art course. But one thing that's unique about it is that an incident happened in the school which like it's not an incident that made her gain this power. It's just an incident where she first experienced her power that made her rewind time. She saw something terrible happen. She tried to stop it, but she couldn't. Then all of a sudden, she somehow rewinded time back, like 5 minutes later in her, 5 minutes earlier, sorry, in her class, back to the very start of the game. Well, you're basically already 5 minutes in the game, 5-10 minutes, and you go all the way back to the beginning again. But what this game captured, what so many characters, I can't speak. What this game does that other games have failed to do is somehow make it unique. History is a story where your decisions affects the story. So if you made a choice and you instantly regret it, you can rewind time to a point where you can change your choice. And no matter which choice you're going to go for, there's always going to be there's always going to be some consequence, but one side will have less consequences than the other side. But it's one of them stories that does get you invested in. You feel like you're a part of the story, even though you're not. You're playing a girl who is doing the decisions, but you're making the choices for her. You follow her in the first episode. You basically see her at the school, you see what her life's like, it picks up what's going to happen before you have to buy the next 4 episodes, but it's really worth it. if you're really into story-based games, because this game has one of the most unique and beautifully told stories I've ever played, because after I finished the first life, I was by it for like 2 weeks, because I absolutely loved the game. I was happy, I was smiling, I was laughing, but I also shed a few tears as well. I will admit, this game has made me cry a few times. It's one of the very few games that have actually made me cry, and it's not that hard to make me cry, but you need a very good reason on how it made me cry, and this game did do it just that, so easily. God. I won't tell you what happened in the story, because that spoils, but it is, as well as the fact that it's a better choice to play this game without knowing too much about it, because then you'll know the story of it, you know just how great it is, your first impression, basically. But basically, Max was away from her hometown for about 5 years. She came back to join Blackwell Academy to do her art class, but what she left behind when she first moved was her best friend Chloe, who she encounters later on, and the two had a sort of a rekindle, catched up on all Max told her about her time whining. I'm thinking of Doctor Who here. Timey-wimey, jibbly-jobbly stuff. She explains about how she's got it, and that basically sets off the story of Life is Strange. You have Max, who's a nerd who has this time-traveling power, and you have Chloe, the rebellious girl who just wants to live life her way and hates her life in Blackwell, which is where they live. So the first game, you play as Max, and you have to try and prevent a storm that is heading towards your town. You encounter this at the very beginning. Anyways, you see a vision of the storm, as well as trying to solve a mystery that's been happening at Blackwell Academy. It's a very heavy-hearted story. It will make you cry, but it also has a dark, twisted side to it that you will encounter later on. Trust me on this. If you're into story-based games, then this is definitely recommended for you. If you're into open-world games with action and all that, then this is not the game for you. Now, because the game was such a huge success, everyone absolutely loved it, they wanted more. And the creators did announce that there is another Life is Strange game coming out either this year or next year. I would imagine next year, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was this year as well. But I'm assuming next year. That Life is Strange game will have... You'll have new characters, voice actors, you'll have new plots, which is exciting at the same time, but you know, people wanted more of Max and Chloe, as well as if you know the ending. We still wanted more of Max and Chloe, so that's why they thought, you know what, we'll do one just for you fans, and they did. They released Life is Strange before the storm, so this was after Max had left, but before she arrived. You, instead of following her this time, however, you follow her best friend Chloe, who's the girl dressed up as a pirate in the back garden, as you see on this video. You follow her life of what happens left. You follow, because in the first Life is Strange, you learn about a girl called Rachel Amber, who went missing. And they were plastered everywhere in Blackwell Academy. You find out Chloe was the one who posted it all. So Before the Strange is basically how they met, how their friendship developed, what happened, you know, before she went missing. And it's not as emotionally invested as the first Life is Strange. However, it's still a really good prequel. Still hit me a couple of times, but But it's just still so amazing to revisit Life is Strange. Then again, like I said, I played it in September 2017, so I didn't have that long to wait. I didn't play it at the start. I waited a couple of years until I actually regretted missing out. But then again, at the same time, I don't, because I had this long period of time playing both Life is Strange and Life is Strange Before the Storm. But you follow the story of Chloe when she's 16, I think. See her character, hear about why she got kicked out of Well Academy, her friendship with Rachel Amber. It's just still emotional, and Before the Storm, as well as Life is Strange in general, has one of the best soundtracks ever. I got some on my phone by a band called Daughter, who done the soundtrack to Before the Storm. Absolutely amazing. I would highly recommend listening to it, or the band in general, when you do have a chance. And now we're on the final episode ever with Max and Chloe, except this time this is another prequel kind of, but it's only one episode, and it's connected with Before the Storm. You need the game Before the Storm to play this episode, but you also need the DLC, because this is DLC episode as well, called where the original voice of Max and Chloe returns for this. And I haven't finished it. This is as far as I've gotten. We're on a hunt for the treasure that they buried when they were 8 years old. And I can already tell I'm gonna cry, because this is the final episode ever that we're gonna see Max and Chloe. We're not gonna see him again after this. I mean, we might one day, but I know the creators want to focus on new stories, new characters. So, I mean, they may strike gold. This game was published by Square Enix, who published Final Fantasy, and we know how much of a huge franchise Final Fantasy is. And each game always has different plots, different stories, different characters. So maybe they will have Life is Strange will have the same magic as Final Fantasy. New characters, but with Final Fantasy games, they are quite long. They are quite long games where it gives you plenty of time to try and, you know, be like, right, that's it for me. That's a nice one long game. I think I could settle on moving on to new things. Life is Strange didn't felt like a very 5 episodes that you can complete possibly within a day. Then the 3 episodes, which once again you can finish possibly in a day. You could probably finish Life is Strange, all of it, within a day. If not, then 2 days, definitely. Unless you want to go around the whole place, examining everything that you're in, then it would take you probably 2 to 3 days. Because that's what I do. I always like to go around and examine things. It's just so sad at the end of Max and Chloe, though. I hope one day that we'll get to revisit them, whether it's another prequel or whether it's the future, because there's 2 choices for 2 different endings, and depending on how you play the game, you can have something extra with one of the endings. However, they can still set up a sequel to it. I can definitely see sequel potential after Life is Strange. But if that will ever happen, I have no idea. Like I said, the creators are focusing on new characters, new plots, new story. So we'll see if that story will be as successful as this first ever Life is Strange. I can highly praise the game for its story. It's absolutely amazing. I would rate it probably 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10. There's still some things I find that annoys me, where it's not I mean, I don't mind it not being open world, but it's not as open. Like, as soon as you enter to a new area, you can't leave that area until you do what you have to do. But I can handle that anyways. As well as it's laggy in a couple of places, but I also overlooked that as well because the story is absolutely amazing. Not saying it's laggy as in jumps everywhere. I'm on about the audio with the lip syncing and all that. But that's with the first Life is Strange. But I overlooked all those, and the game is still absolutely amazing. 9 out of 10 for a beautiful story, and I'm into my story games, and I hope to do more in the future. And I hope I'll have a camera ready just so I can have proper reactions to the game, and I can upload them. thank you for